Again, this is the third series of IBS School Debate Competition. This is made possible with our sponsors and our partners, presenting partners Kundu 2 and NBC, and New Guinea, who is our official carrier. Our major sponsor, which is Governor Honorable Powers Pakop, NCDC, National Gaming Board Council, Electoral Commission, Office of Climate Change, LNA Group of Companies, NASFAN, Brian Bell, and Honorable Peter Ipatas of Ipatas Foundation for the Younger Debate, and also our Honorable Luther Wenge for his support for the IBS School Debate Competition in Lay as well. So thank you to our sponsors. Without them, IBS School Debate Competition wouldn't reach this far. So before we get into the competition, we'd like to read the rules very carefully, and these rules were given to the teachers so that they are fully aware of what they need to do with their participants. So I'd like to read out the debate rules before we call on those first schools to come out to take on stage the debate competition. The debate rules. Each team should comprise of 4 core members and 2 reserves. The core members will only be replaced in the event that any of the core members is unfit due to circumstances beyond control. Replacement should not be done during the finals. Team will consist of new members, and members who have participated before is not allowed. This is so other members are given the opportunity to learn and develop through this competition. The team should also have gender balance, except for schools that have male and female only. The debate will be carried out in 3 rounds or 3 days, which is the 2 teams will debate against each other per contest. That is the elimination round, which is today. And then we will select the top 4 also to advance to the semifinals, and the top 2 winner of the semifinal will make the grand final debate. And that will be on Friday. The winner of the grand final debate will qualify for the IBS National Debate title in Port Moresby. The teams are given 1 debate topic each, and they have been given in advance for the teachers and the students to prepare themselves. And the final round topics are also given at the same time so that they prepare concurrently or another day. Draws have taken place whether our team is for or against the topic to avoid biasness. The same will also be done for semifinals and final as well. It is very important for the participants to be mindful that the first speaker to the third speaker get 5 minutes each, while the last speaker gets 10 minutes. Warning bell will be given on the 4th minute. Can I have the timekeeper to demonstrate? On the 4th minute, you will hear 1 bell. And 30 seconds before the final time. Can I have the timekeeper to demonstrate? Thank you. So warning bell for all speakers will be given by our timekeeper. So participants, be mindful that if you go beyond time, your marks are deducted. So adjudicators will be well informed on that as well. Strictly palm cards with short notes. No other forms of notes are allowed, and no other devices such as mobile phone and etc. It is very important that participants must face the audience, and strictly no personal attacks when rebutting. Participants must professionally be diplomatic in arguing their case. Strictly no mention of bureaucrats' names while arguing your case unless you want to reference an article in the paper. It is very important that you have to give reference to your referencing. This is a development also for future, because when you're in uni, when you do your assignments and quote somebody, you have to also give reference. So it is very important that you do your referencing well. The scoring will be given by judges using the adjudicating sheet based on 3 areas, which is meta, method, and manner. We call it 3M. So each individual gains scores for presentation and is given scores out of 115. So each individual scores out of 115, and the total is around 460. In the event that schools don't turn up, they will be forfeited, and the opponent school would advance straight to semifinals or to the next round. For an open and fair judgment, the judges will be prominent independent judges, which we have here, and all teachers have agreed that we should not have teachers as adjudicators. So we have independent judges from outside, and also they have to be gender balanced. The winning team in the grand final will get the grand finalist prize, and also everybody will be given certificate of participants, consolation prizes, and rest of the other teachers too will be acknowledged on the day as well. And the grand finalists will advance to IBS National Debate Competition. And all of the preparation should be done by respective schools and their patrons. So those are the rules of the debate competition, and I hope that you're well aware of the debate competition. Okay, so let's get the competition on. I'm excited. Okay, we don't have, I think today's round was with Bumayong and Malahang Technical. Their topic is one-talk system is still appropriate for today's society, and I believe they're not here. So we only have 4 schools. Oh, okay. Your participants, sorry. Okay, if we can have your, Lawrence, if you can. All right, so Bumayong are here, and Malahang Technical has confirmed that they won't be in the debate competition, but they'll prepare for next year. So now Bumayong had, as per the rules agreed by all, they have now advanced to the semi-finals. And it's per the rules agreed, so we will select the top 3 from today to make it tomorrow for the semi-finals. It's said that Malahang is not here, but hopefully, they will definitely take part next year. I think that's the rule, so we will follow the rules. So are we all happy? Yes, it's all about having fun. Of course, it's a competition, but we must also embrace that developing the young leaders of tomorrow. Now I would like to introduce our school, the participants who will take on the first debate competition. And their topic is unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Lay Christian Academy is going for the topic, and Coronation College is going against the topic. If I can have the 2 schools to stand. Lay Christian Academy, let me introduce the speakers. Caroline Mann, Manisha D'Souza, Lafos Mand, Hansen Orake, the 4th speaker. Coronation College, the first speaker, Makili Zuranuok, Nico Monoluk. The 3rd speaker, Jason Seseta, and the 4th speaker is Haunia Hawani. If I can ask you to take the stage. Welcome back to the 3rd series of IBS School Debate Competition, proudly supported by our partners Kundutu and NBC, official carrier NU Guinea, and also our major sponsors NCDC, Governor Honorable Powers Pakop, National Gaming Board Council, Electoral Commission, Office of Climate Change, LNA, NASFAN, Brian Bell, Honorable Peter Ipatas Foundation for the Yangalag, and also Honorable Luther Wenge for the Morobe debate competition. Okay. All right, so you can take the stage. Round of applause for Lay Christian Academy and Coronation College. Their topic for debate is unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Lay Christian Academy is going for the topic, and Coronation College is going against the topic. Let the competition begin. I would like to now call upon the first speaker of Lake Christian Academy, Caroline Mann, who is grade 11 and also from Wabag, and she would like to be an accountant in the future. So round of applause for Caroline Mann.
Thank you, Mrs. Davis. Firstly, I'd like to say good morning to our Honorable Governor Duduwenge, and to the chairperson, adjudicators, timekeeper, the opposition side, and the ladies and gentlemen of the audience. I am the first speaker of the government side. My points of argument will be based on the political aspect of this issue. As for my fellow debaters, Manisha, the second speaker, will speak on the legal aspect. The third speaker, LaForce, will share on the economic aspect of this issue, and Henson, our fourth and final speaker, will briefly summarize everything that we have said and will share on his point on the social aspect of this issue. Now, we as the government, we strongly believe that in all these aspects that I have said, the main cause of law and order problems in PNG is unemployment. Unemployment simply means having no job, or therefore no source of income. And when a lot of people are unemployed, many tend to steal and live a life of crime as their means of survival. Now I will begin on my point of argument. I will be speaking on the government's inability to provide for the increasing number of school leavers in this country. Over the last 10 years, 10 to 12,000 grade 12 students have left school. Last year, roughly around 12,000 students have left school. Of this amount of school leavers, only about 1/3 of them find spaces in the ever-stagnant institutions in this country. The other 2/3 are supposed to find employment or be useful in their community. At least that's what the government says or preaches. But are the 2/3 we speak of happily occupied in the villages and communities that they live in? Has the government provided some form of employment, some motivation to keep the dropouts satisfied in their villages or local communities? I'd say no. There is no or very little assistance there. So these people leave the villages or communities that they live in and come to the cities in hope to find work. But they only come and join in the large and ever-growing population of the unemployed people. Being unemployed in another land or foreign place, one cannot have easy access to food, money, and shelter. And these are basic human needs. And if they cannot be met by honest means, then by dishonest means is the only option for many of them. Living by dishonest means simply living a life of stealing, looting, pickpocketing, even using force. And this all amount to lawlessness and law and order in the country. You see, it's mainly the unemployed, those not occupied doing something useful with their abilities and talents, that mostly cause disturbances in law and order problems in our country. Not really those that have something to do. My point is that PNG is a growing nation. Population is ever increasing, causing the number of dropouts per year to double. Therefore, causing the number of unemployed on the streets to triple or quadruple, however they say it. And so, to sum it all up, I think the government has failed to provide an avenue to meaningfully engage these increasing school dropouts in the community and village levels. This is why I strongly believe that unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Thank you.
Thank you. The first speaker, of Lake Christian Academy, Caroline Mann. I would like to call upon the first speaker of Coronation College. They are the defending champs, 2010 champions of last year, and they have a challenge to meet this year again, and wish them all the best for this year's competition. Their topic going against is unemployment is a main contributor to law and other problems in PNG. I'd like to welcome and call upon the first speaker of Coronation College, Makili Zurnok. He's grade 12 from the Morobe province, and of course in future he wants to be a pilot. Welcome, Big Makili.
Thank you, Madam Chair, the judges, and the audience. As the first speaker for the opposition, I will not be raising any new points. However, we'll be giving you a further more educated meaning of the topic, and we'll also be introducing the opposition team. But before I do so, I would like to rebut on what the affirmative team has said. Unemployment cannot be blamed as the chief contributor to law and order problems. Since the education system can be blamed because of the failing students, and therefore unemployment cannot be blamed as the main contributor. Now to my definition. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion for debate, the motion our team will be debating is unemployment is not the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. We, the opposition, do not deny that we have law and order problems in PNG. But our law and order problems are not solely driven by unemployment. As a contemporary society experiencing a vast number of social and economical changes, unemployment is just one of the contributing factors and cannot be deemed as the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Based on several social and economical facts collected from data, facts from interviews and other reliable sources, our team will beyond any shadow of doubt convince you, regardless of what the government team has to present, the scope in which our team will present is more factual and informative, that you will find yourself agreeing with us that unemployment is not, and I repeat, not the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed, let us form a basic understanding of employment and compare that to unemployment. Firstly, according to the International Labour Organization's definition for employment, employment is one, paid employment, which is when one works for a wage or salary, or two, self-employment, which is when one works for profit or family gain, including the production of goods for one's own consumption. Let me stress that again, including the production of goods for one's own consumption. On the other hand, unemployment is the state of being jobless, redundant, laid off, or out of work, or anyone who is capable of work but is not able to get a job. Looking at our contemporary PNG society, there are reasons why people find themselves jobless, redundant, laid off, or out of work. Some of these reasons are results beyond our control. One of the reasons is that according to the last census population statistics, 60% of PNG's total population comprises of children between the ages of 7 to 18 years. In reality, a 7-year-old is one who is just beginning elementary level of education, and an 18-year-old is one who is just completing secondary level of education. Therefore, by looking at these statistics, are we saying that this is the population in the unemployment category that is causing law and order problems in PNG? Ladies and gentlemen, let us be open-minded about the reasons for unemployment so that we do not develop a misleading conception that unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Moreover, the contributors of law and order problems are vast in our contemporary PNG society. There are social and economical reasons for which our second and third speakers will expound on respectively. Their elaborations will strengthen the fibers of our points of view that unemployment is not the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Finally, our last and final speaker will reiterate our key points of arguments and nullify any misleading conception that unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole Monoluk of Coronation College. Sorry, Makili Zurnok of Coronation College. Thank you very much. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of Lake Christian Academy. The topic, unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Let us now welcome Manisha D'Souza from India. He's in grade 10 and who would like to be a forensic scientist in the future. Let us see what she has to say.
Thank you, Chairperson. Firstly, I would like to rebut on what the first speaker of the opposition side said. Failing students are not given the facilities or opportunities to achieve their full potential. Unemployment may also be a choice, and those who choose are usually opportunists who are contributors to law and order problems. And now I would like to speak on my aspect. When there is no job, there is no money income, and people prefer illegal activities for easy money. Most skilled people who do not have jobs carry out crimes even though they know the risks of carrying out a crime. Crime is basically anything from murder, drug dealing, possession of drugs, assault, etc. Here in PNG, in the media, as we always hear, people get easy money through holdups, burglary, robbery, and these all come under serious crimes. Therefore, I strongly believe that unemployment is the reason. When there is no unemployment, there's no when there's no employment, there's no money income. So when there's no money, there's no way for a person to live. So therefore, I strongly believe that unemployment is the only reason for law and order problems here in PNG. Thank you.
Round of applause for the second speaker of Lake Christian Academy, Manisha D'Souza. I'd like to now call upon the second speaker of Coronation College, Nicole Monoluk. In grade 12, he's from Mississippi, and he would like to be in HR management in the future. So let us now welcome Nicole Monoluk going against the topic, and let's see what she has to say.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As the second speaker of the opposition team, I will be speaking on the social aspects of our topic from our team's point of view, and why unemployment is not the main cause of law and order problems in PNG. Before I continue on, I would like to rebut on what the second speaker of the affirmative side said. She said something about unemployment being the cause of law and order problems. From our definition, employment is anybody who is unemployed but is a subsistence farmer. That means that he or she gains money from a own self-earning. Now, moving on to my points. I have two very important points to stress to you. Even though there are many factors that cause law and order problems in PNG, we, the opposition team, believe that these two factors are a main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. My first point is ignorance and lack of morale. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Encyclopedia of Webster's Dictionaries, ignore is to refrain from recognizing something that's important. An ignorant person is a person who knows something he or she is doing is wrong, but yet she's doing it. Or a person who knows or sees something is wrong, but is not reporting it or preventing it from happening. Social disorders arise simply because of ignorance. We all know that our country has rules, laws, and regulations in place. Even an illiterate knows this. Why then do we read of law and order problems in almost every newspaper that has ever been printed out? There is only one answer to these questions, ladies and gentlemen, and that is ignorance. For example, drink driving. The government and many other private organizations have on countless occasions set up billboards and awareness programs advising the public on the consequences of drink driving. But yet, these pleas go on unheard. They chose to ignore these warnings. Another factor is moral decay. Moral decay is having weakness in seeing what is right or wrong. Social disorders are caused by moral decays in a society. These people who are involved in moral decay are people who are involved in criminal activities. According to the media, there are a lot of crimes committed in PNG done by top public servants, politicians, and other employees of both the government and private sector. It is common knowledge that a lot of people with good living standards are not satisfied with what they want. Then they tend to involve themselves in criminal activities. As a result, they bribe others or they themselves commit crimes in order to get what they want. This brings me to my second point, which is culture shock. Culture shock is defined by being exposed to a different culture. People view and approach this exposure differently. This different approach can lead to a conflict in interest or a misunderstanding or a misconception. This results in a social disorder or a crime. As you can see, it is not because of unemployment, it is because of culture. And a good example is media. Media is a very powerful influencer. Western influences like movies has greatly brainwashed people who try to imitate the ideas portrayed in the movies, forming of gangs and using knives or guns to intimidate, terrorize others to get what they want. This goes back to the movies. Summarizing my points, according to the CIA World Factbook in 2006, the unemployment rate was 2.8%. In 2008, it dropped down to 1.9%, and in 2011, it dropped down to 1.8%. These statistics clearly show us that the unemployment rate has decreased over the past years. So how can we blame the 1.8% of PNG's population and how can we blame the 1.8% of PNG's population on all the law and order problems caused in the country today? Thank you.
Thank you. Second speaker of Coronation College, Nicole Monologue. The topic for debate today is unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Lay Christian Academy is going for the topic and Coronation College is going against the topic. This is the third series of IBA school debate competition, proudly supported by our partners, Kundu 2 and NBC, and New Guinea, who's our official carrier, our governor, Powers Parkop, and CDC, our major sponsors, National Gaming Board Commission, Electoral Commission, Office of Climate Change, LNA Group of Companies, NASFAN, Brian Bell, Honorable Governor Ipatas for the Aenga debate, and also Honorable Luto Wenge for the late debate competition. Round of applause for the two schools here. Now I would like to call upon the third speaker of Lay Christian Academy, Lafos Man, who's in grade 9. He's also from Enga. And his future career, he would like to be a petroleum engineer. So let's see what he has to say.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. In opposition to what the second speaker stated, another term you need not mention is tolerance of such activities, because our society has become complex with such arrogant behavior. Okay, to touch on my topic, city life and village life are different from each other. In the village, everything is easy. It's free. Everything you get is free. Food, you need food, it's right in the garden. Water, it's just in the village. I mean, it's in the river. It might be miles away, but at least it's free. The city life, however, revolves mostly around money. You need money to buy food, pay bills, and other personal needs. For a person to live in the city unemployed, life would become hard. Soon the desperation and the need for money forces them to steal and enter a life of crime. First, it's just pickpocketing. Doesn't seem that harmless. Just little one-kinas, two-kinas, and then soon it leads to holding people up at knife point. And from there, armed robberies would seem nothing more than a piece of cake. These are the desperate actions of an unemployed citizen who, in doing all these crimes, is simply trying to feed himself and sustain himself in the city life. Today, PNG is a money-based society. Everything from food to household items has a price. And as we advance into the future, the prices for goods and services rise as well. This makes it more difficult for the unemployed. With no possible way of earning honest money, they choose to steal, creating law and order problems. The government states the PNG's economy is very fragile and is currently being damaged by criminal activities. The irony, however, is that the economy is forcing citizens to do criminal activities. So based on these facts, I would like to conclude by saying that unemployment is the main contributor to the law and order problems in PNG. Thank you.
Thank you. Third speaker of Lake Christian Academy, LaForce Mand. A round of applause for LaForce. I would now like to call upon the third speaker of Coronation College, going against the topic, unemployment is a main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Third speaker, Jason Seseta. He's in grade 12, and he would like to be an economist in the future. So welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair and the audience. As the third speaker of the opposition, I'll be elaborating on the economical aspects of the topic that unemployment is not the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. I'll be emphasizing on two main points: unequal distribution of wealth and lack of income earning opportunity. Before I do so, please let me rebut on a point which was brought up by the third speaker of the affirmative team. Generally, what they are saying is that unemployment is the contributor to law and order problems, but we cannot classify any Papua New Guinean as unemployed. Papua New Guinea is not like Australia, where government owns most of the land. In PNG, people customarily owns the land, and they have advantage in generating income and create employment opportunity for themselves. Okay. On to my points. Unequal distribution of wealth. Wealth simply refers to government services, job opportunities, and law enforcement. Many Papua New Guineans lack proper economic management. And as a result of that, wealth of our nation is concentrated in certain places only. For example, in Port Moresby. While other parts of Papua New Guinea, we totally miss out. Although we are a main economic contributor to this nation, wealth is not fairly distributed to us. And that is a factor that provokes people to cause law and order problems in the country. Unequal distribution of wealth happens because of factors such as favoritism. Department heads tend to finance their favorite provinces only. For example, the conspiracy involving of two ministers for misappropriating 125 million kina to East New Britain province. It is controversial because the money was taken from NAS Fund, which all working Papua New Guineans are contributors to. By law, conspiracy is illegal and it shouldn't be practiced in any nation. That example have proven to us that people who are employed, people who are economically active, they have better chance of causing law and order problems than people who are unemployed. This leads me to my second and last point, lack of income earning opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, before I present this point, I want you to know that income earning opportunity is slightly different from employment opportunity. Employment opportunity is the favorable chances of making use of the trade and profession that you have that can be either for paid job or for household consumption. Whereas income earning opportunity is basically to do with paid job and not for household consumption. Now, as you can differentiate between these two terms, let me continue. According to last year's statistics, approximately more than 14,000 grade 12 students are graduating every year. Out of these 14,000, only 4,000 are selected to continue to higher institutions. What happens to the rest? Do you think they have a chance of getting a paid job? If there's no chance for them, then they become an economic burden. And the blame should be leveled upon our government for not creating income earning opportunity for them. Worst of all, the qualified university students. The number of qualified students are increasing, but where are the jobs? It is not justifiable to blame them for being unemployed. They didn't want to be unemployed. It's the system that forced them to be unemployed. Moreover, government is the biggest employer of any economy. So that's the government's responsibility to create income earning opportunity for people in order to avoid law and order problems from happening in the country. Example, the masterminder of Kerema and Medeng BSP bank robbery was a university graduate student. If there were income earning opportunities available for that person, that unlawful incident wouldn't have happened. Therefore, it is safe and justifiable to say that law and order problems are mainly caused by economical factors such as unequal distribution of wealth and lack of income earning opportunity and not unemployment. To say that unemployment is the main cause of law and order problems in Papua New Guinea, ladies and gentlemen, it's ridiculous because the current state of our nation economy is such that anybody, any factor can be contributor to law and order problems in Papua New Guinea and not only unemployment. Therefore, we the opposition team strongly believe that unemployment is not the main contributor to law and order problems in Papua New Guinea, and we believe these points are convincing and have convinced you. Thank you.
Thank you. The third speaker of Coronation College, Jason Seseta. Now I would like to call upon the last speaker of Lake Christian Academy. The topic that they're debating on is unemployment is the main contributor to law and other problems in PNG, and Lake Christian Academy is going for the topic. I would like to call upon the fourth speaker, Hansen Orake, who's in grade 12 from Kerema and who would like to be a mechatronics engineer in the future. Thank you. Round of applause for him.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Firstly, I'd like to rebut on the opposition's certain points. Firstly, the government doesn't really own land, that's true, but it has the right to pawn off our land to foreign companies. And what do we get? Dust. While the foreign investors who go and have the stocks in the company actually get the money. Secondly, people in the workforce they have the means to try and commit crimes, but they don't have the drive. It's not a necessity. Some people actually like their jobs and want to keep it, so they don't do any real crimes in any way, so they do not jeopardize their lives. Now, as for a third term that I'd like to clear everybody up on, it's a real scientific term, of course, laziness. Yeah, that's what our people are today, unfortunately. Back in the days, people went into the workforce to try and build better lives from their cultural way of life, the village way of life, to come into a society and develop themselves to be adaptable in that society. Nowadays, people are more complacent and they'd actually like to sit down and be handed money, which is just pure laziness if you think about it. And they go on living and they don't really think about getting jobs. And they wouldn't really want to get jobs as long as their income is kept up and their bottles are filled. That's pretty much it. Now, I'd like to just briefly summarize on my group's topics. Oh, right. Anyway. Thank you very much. Okay. Our first speaker highlighted on the government's negligence into helping our people. Our second speaker highlighted also very briefly that the criminal activities taking place today are more of a necessity, shall we say, where it's a need for them to survive, that they go after criminal activities because it is an easier way to be able to generate income for themselves and their families. And our third speaker highlighted on the fact that the economic values in the village, in the rural areas, and in the urban areas are very different and are mostly, well, really ineffective in the rural areas. All right. So now I shall move on to my now I shall move on to my topic of argument, which I'm sure will convince you that unemployment is a major factor in terms of law and order, the rise of law and order problems in our country. All right, PNG has come a long way since 1975. It's true. It's a short time. We've come a long way. And we're pretty much being able to compete in the modern world today. But there's still a lot of areas we need to work on. And there's a lot of basic needs that aren't being kept up. For example, education and jobs. As my opposition has said, there are a lot more students dropping out because the cutoff marks are being raised. They're being raised because there are not enough spaces in universities and colleges and other educational institutions to cater for the large number of students that are being turned out of the educational institutions. A second point that I'd like to point out is the rural to urban drift. This is a very important topic because it really contributes to the population growth, which then also has an inverse reaction on the standard of living that we have today. Goodness. Our standard of living goes down as the population increases. The population increases because many youths from the rural areas decide to find a better life in the urban areas. They seek this from, as our opposition has said, watching movies. They're very impressionable, shall we say. They want to have this better life where they sip on martinis, go out into their fancy sports car, and get the beautiful girl, of course. But this isn't true, as we know. So they turn out and become the settlements that we see everywhere today. They add to our population and to the grievances of our governing bodies because of the large number of people who are unemployed and choose to be that way. Others who come from the rural areas but do not choose to be that way, unfortunately, have no means to contribute in any way or generate their own form of income. This cannot be helped also by the government, for they don't have any means set in place to help out students or our people to be able to help themselves. The lack of educational opportunities also creates more unemployment, which then links on to problems, the more law and order problems that will be produced, because they see it as a necessity for them to survive and produce for their own families and for their own survival. The situation of criminal activities as a necessity is now being supplemented by the criminal activities actually becoming more of a commonplace in society. It's becoming more easier for people to want to just be lazy and go and commit crimes in more ways than others. And plus, with the combination of alcohol and drugs, it's more of a status symbol in a way, where you go out and it's kind of your trophy where you bring in your little prize that you share, and it also helps you in a way for your survival. This adds on to our violent culture, fueled by the drugs and alcohol, and the inability of our government to actually help us is just sad. To subsidize for education, to bring new jobs in. All they are doing these days are just fueling corporate bodies of foreign companies to come and get rich off our land. So what I suggest is that the government actually try to subsidize most of the basic necessities and essential services that we in the urban areas usually take for granted. schooling, running water, electricity. These are things that people can't really afford in rural areas, and they deserve it as people and citizens of this country. The more pressing matter is in the source of education. It's a resource that we seem to squander every day. Many kids cutting school and stuff. Well, in other words, our education is important for our leaders, as we see today, to try and to develop our country for the better, to adapt so that we may profit and we may become, and we come out of the stereotype of being a third world country and be a player in this market, developing world economy as we see it today. Thank you very much.
Round of applause for Hansen Oroke, the fourth speaker of Lay Christian Academy. The topic for debate is unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. I would like to now call upon the final speaker, the fourth speaker of Coronation College, Haunie Hawani. She's in grade 12 from Western Province, and her future career will be electrical engineer. So welcome, Haunia. Let's see what she has to say for the topic.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As the last speaker of the negative team, I will be summarizing and concluding on my team's main arguments. The topic for our debate is unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. We, the opposition, strongly believe that this statement is ridiculous and is a misleading conception. Therefore, we strongly believe that unemployment is not, and I repeat, is not the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Before I summarize and conclude on my team's main arguments, I would like to rebut on some of the points raised by the affirmative team. Okay, the affirmative team stated that crime rises because rises because people are not employed. Well, crime is not brought about because of unemployment. It's brought about because of people's ignorance and other social contributing factors such as ignorance, anger, and jealousy. They also stated that no one wants to get a job. Now, everyone has a desire to earn money, right? So how can one have a desire to earn money and not want to get a job? Now, to summarize my team's arguments, our first speaker spoke to you about ignorance. Ignorance, she stated, is refraining from recognizing something important. Now, how can we blame unemployment as the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG when people are refraining to recognizing the law? When the law is put in place to guide people. Now, when people refrain from recognizing the law, they do not consider others or respect their rights. They know what they're doing is against the law, but yet they keep on doing it. So most law and order problems that are caused in PNG are committed by ignorance and lack of moral. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, is it right to say that unemployment is the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG? This, we the opposition, strongly disagree with. Okay, our second speaker went on to elaborate on culture shock. Now, culture shock, she stated, is another contributing factor to law and order problems in PNG. Now, culture shock is when individuals are exposed to a different culture. And when this happens, it brings about social conflict and when social conflict arise, that's where something seen by one culture can be perceived or viewed differently in another. Secondly, our third speaker spoke to you about unequal distribution of wealth. Now, unequal distribution of wealth is when some places in Papua New Guinea are more developed than others, where there's basic services and money that's centered in a certain area, whereas some are lacking that. And in those places that are lacking basic services, people tend to sustain themselves by finding other means. And in that way, they resort to law and order problems such as crime and offenses, major offenses. So we cannot blame unemployment as the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG when basic services are not provided. He also stated that lack of income earning opportunities. Now, income earning opportunities is any opportunity that generates income. So currently, many students are graduating from high schools and getting into tertiary institutions, but only a few of them make it. And what happens to the rest? Are we going to blame those remaining students for becoming an economic burden and causing all these law and order problems in our country? This is nonsense when the government is a major employer and should be providing income earning opportunities for these students. Therefore, we strongly believe that unemployment is not the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that the opposition team are reinstating our arguments and stressing that we do not deny the fact that, yes, we do have law and order problems in PNG, but these law and order problems are not caused by unemployment. Therefore, I am emphasizing that unemployment is a system that is created, and those who get caught in it have no choice. So law and order problems are caused by some other factors which our team have already identified in our arguments. Therefore, we, the opposition team, without a shadow of doubt, believe that we have convinced you that unemployment is not the main contributor to law and order problems in PNG. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in light of our points of arguments presented, we have developed some recommendations to minimize these factors, which the government should take into consideration. One factor is ignorance that we've mentioned. Okay, most crimes are ignored because witnesses fear for their well-being. Therefore, we are recommending that witness protection programs should be in place or established so that witnesses do not fear or be afraid to intervene in any law and order problems or crime that they witness being happened. The second factor is moral decay. Now, most people suffer from moral decay, which causes them to commit law and order problems. Therefore, we are recommending that rehabilitation or established licensed counseling services should be provided so that people feel openly to make use of those services. And thirdly, unequal distribution of wealth. Now, in order for a national growth, wealth should be distributed equally around PNG. Therefore, a commission should be put in place in every province so that money that is made in that province or the province that's generating money, the money can be stored in that province in order to provide development and basic services for that province. Okay, the Vision 2050 states that PNG aspires to a vision of having a smart, wise, fair, healthy, and happy society in 2050. So by looking at it, 2050 is a long way ahead from now. But if we start now will be able to achieve this vision by then. Thank you.
Round of applause for the fourth speaker, Hannah Awani, for the Coronation College team. The topic that they debated on is unemployment is the main contributor to law and other problems in PNG. Lake Christian Academy going for the topic and Coronation College going against the topic. Now that brings us to the end of the contest one between Lake Christian Academy and Coronation College. Well done to the two schools. Round of applause to the two schools. I'm sure we have learned something, and it's more educational that, through this debate competition you seem to learn something out of it, and the research that the kids have put into and the amount of research that they have put into is extremely very pleasing. So well done to the two schools. In the name of, good spirit, shake hands, and then we can move on to the next contest.